Hello friends, welcome to EduTap's YouTube channel. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss with you the strategy that you should be adopting for NABARD Grade A 2021, not 2020, 2021. We'll be discussing how to prepare economics and social issues. This is a very important video in which we are going to help you in understanding the kind of strategy, kind of approach that you should adopt for economics and social issues so that you are able to maximize your marks, so that you are able to maximize the impact in the examination that you can have so far as your preparation is concerned. So do subscribe to EduTap's YouTube channel, do join our Telegram channel, because through these two channels we are providing a lot of free content for your preparation, which will be very helpful in the examination. Through YouTube channel we are providing a lot of videos, through Telegram channel we are providing a lot of notes related to those videos. So do make sure that you are subscribed to both these channels. We would like to share with you briefly our EduTap's Hall of Fame. We wish to see you in this EduTap's Hall of Fame. You can see that we have been able to produce consistent results in RBI Grade B, NABARD Grade A as well as SEBI Grade A examination. In fact, in the last cycle of NABARD Grade A examination, it gives me a sense of pride to share with you that out of 69 posts available, 65 posts were grabbed by students who belong to EduTap. That is the kind of impact that EduTap has been having on the lives of students by the grace of God, by the hard work of students, by the hard work of our team. We would like to continue that in the future, which is why we are discussing this strategy. Let us hope that you benefit from this strategy, right? There are a good number of courses available for all the examinations, including NABARD Grade A examination. We sincerely advise you to join these courses. Let us begin. Now, when we talk about NABARD Grade A examination, right? And this is a general thing that we actually believe in, right? These examinations, they are not really difficult. They are not really challenging. I mean, come on, it is not IIT JEE ka examination where they are asking you impossible technical, questions which you are not able to solve. They are asking you really difficult, challenging questions which are, really challenging your conceptual understanding to the corest of the core of the things. They're not doing any of those things in these examinations. These examinations are straightforward examinations by and large. They have a very clear-cut, well-defined syllabus which can be handled by any average person in India, right? Having some kind of a college degree. It is just that you should have the right approach. You should have the right strategy. You should have the right sources. And you should do things right so that eventually you are able to perform well in the examination. Right? Because there are a multiple number of subjects, because there are multiple number of phases, it becomes a little, difficult, but it's not impossible. It is simple, I would say, not easy. But if you remain disciplined, if you are adopting the right strategy, which I'm going to discuss with you going ahead, you should be on a safe ground. You should be okay. You should be performing well in the examination. So let us go ahead. Keep this rule, right, that it is simple, it's not easy. You have to be regular, you have to have habits, you have to be motivated, you have to be consistent, you have to be disciplined. Then it is simple, right? But it's not easy, right? Keep that in mind. So what should be the kind of strategy that you should be adopting for economic and social issues, which is a very important part of this examination. So I'm going to highlight this to you to sort of, enable you to understand that why you should, spend time on economics and social issues. Right? If you look at phase 1 of this examination, phase 1 preliminary examination, right? The one thing which is really different about NABARD is that in phase 1 itself, you are having economic and social issues with focus on rural India having 40 marks in the examination. So if you hope to proceed ahead in this examination, it is very important that you do economic and social issues well so that you can fetch, probably, 30 or 35 marks out of 40 at least, and you can secure a seat in phase 2. That is the importance, right? So you have to do well in this subject so that you can clear phase 1. That is point number 1, right? Now you are saying notification कब आएगा? मैं आपको वो भी जवाब देने वाला हूँ कि notification कब आएगा. Please be just a little patient and please be a little focused upon what we are discussing. Right? Chemical engineer preparing for NABARD, prepare for NABARD chemical engineer. Do not worry, you will clear the examination. हम आपके साथ में हैं. Moving ahead, if you look at phase 2 of this mains examination, again you will see that there is something called as paper 2, which is basically a paper on multi-choice questions, and in that paper also you see economic and social issues having a lot of weightage, right? So the point is that at both stages, at phase 1 as well as at phase 2, you are having economic and social issues which is playing a critical role in this examination. So if you hope to see the interview board, if you hope to actually clear this examination in the final merit list, you have to be able to do well in this subject. And that is what we are going to discuss over here going ahead, that how to handle economic and social issues, which is a very vast area, which is a huge component. That is what we are going to discuss, that how to handle it in the easiest possible manner so that you are able to score marks in the examination. That is what we are going to discuss. Now look at the syllabus of this examination. Like I said earlier, just a few seconds ago, that the syllabus is huge. It's everything under the sun. What is it that is not there when we talk about economic and social issues? You have to talk about nature of Indian economy. Then you have to talk about economic underdevelopment. Thereafter, you are expected to know that why did the Indian economy open up to the external sector. You have to know the meaning of globalization, impact of globalization. You have to know something about economic reforms that India undertook in 1991 and thereafter. You should know the pros and cons and everything that has happened with respect to privatization. You should understand the concept of inflation very well. Thereafter, you should be able to understand the concept of economic planning very well. Right, because India was a planned economy, all said and done, until planning commission was done away with. So you should understand economic planning. Thereafter, you should have some idea about the trend of poverty in India. What have we done to reduce poverty in India? Thereafter, you should have some idea about employment generation, how much employment we have been able to generate, and has that been sufficient? How do we measure poverty? Right, so that is also very important. Population trends are also very important, right? Related to that, population policy is important. Of course, since you are appearing for the NABARD examination, therefore agriculture is a very important topic, and you can see there are a lot of things. Let us say, for example, characteristics, status, technical and institutional changes, agricultural performance, so on and so forth. So the basic idea is that agriculture is very important, right? I would like to remind you that even if you are a little apprehensive looking at the syllabus, don't be apprehensive. EduTap provides absolutely complete coverage of this entire syllabus, and I'm going to explain that to you how exactly we help you out, right? In a very beautiful manner, right? Let us move ahead. Thereafter, we will looking at industrial and labor policy. Thereafter, we have to look at public sector enterprises. We have to look at rural marketing. We have to also talk about banking and financial sector, because all said and done, if we want to bring about development of rural areas, we have to have the support of the banking and the financial sector. Thereafter, we talk about, role of international funding institutions, especially institutions such as IMF and World Bank and WTO, because these institutions play a very important role in the development of our country. Thereafter, we need to talk about regional economic cooperation. So up till here, from this point, I started off from this point, up to this point, I have read out a good number of topics, right? And these are all topics pertaining to economics, right? So you should understand these topics. You should have a very good and a very beautiful idea about these topics, right? So then you will be in a good position. So basically you should understand economics. Now, whenever I say that you should understand economics, many students have this thing that, they hate economics. They have never studied economics. Probably their teachers in the past have taught economics in such a manner that they are afraid of economics. And all these kind of bad memories sort of, flood our minds. And at this point of time, I would like to make a promise to you. And the promise that I would like to make to you is that if you go through our economics and social issues ka notes, if you go through our economics and social issues ka videos, if you go through our economics and social issues ka quiz and worksheet and summary sheet and all the content that we have provided, I have worked very hard in those contents, you will be able to understand economics. Even if you do not know the E of economics today, even if you hate the E of economics today, I can assure you that you will understand economics. Having no prior knowledge of economics or having a very prior bad experience of economics, still you will be able to understand economics when we teach that subject to you. So keep that in mind. We'll be discussing how exactly we should do it, but let us keep that in mind. Now, moving ahead, these are topics, further ahead are topics related to social issues. So all these topics which are presently sitting over here, for example, multiculturalism, demographic trend, urbanization, migration, gender issues, social infrastructure, education, health, environment, status of education, blah blah, education policy, social justice, scheduled caste problems, scheduled tribe problems, right? How are those problems being tackled? What is the kind of policies we are adopting so that we can bring forward these sections of society, social movement, Indian political system, human development, as well as all other issues, right? I've stopped over here. So these are your social issues ka chapters. So over here, from here to here, you can see that there are economy based chapters. Okay, I'm not very good at writing on the screen, so I'm very sorry about that, right? And then from here to here, there are social issues ka chapter. And then there is another very important thing which has been mentioned in the syllabus, which is this. current economic and social issues. I am going to repeat this thing a 4 or 5 number of times. You have to read current economic and social issues. You have to read current economic and social issues. You have to read current economic and social issues. And why is it that I am repeating it so many times? There is a reason behind it, and understanding this reason can be the difference between success and failure in this examination. It is very important to note, and please take a screenshot of this, that ESI current is more important than ESI static. So this one line over here, this one line, current economic and social issues, is more important than all the lines that I have read so far. Knowing this is very important. Appreciating this is very important. And being ready for this is very, very, very important. So current affairs is more important than static. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is that within static, right, everything over here that I have read so far is static. What is the meaning of static and what is the meaning of current? Static is something which doesn't change. Current is something which keeps changing. So your basic concepts do not change much, right? That is static, right? So we will be discussing basic concepts which do not change much with respect to each and every chapter over here that we have talked about, right? So ESI current is more important than ESI static. That means that whatever is happening in current affairs, right, recent developments that are taking place in the economy, that is more important. What those recent events are, we are going to discuss that also with you. Point number 2. Within the static syllabus, economy component is more important than social issues component. And within the economy component, 5 foundational chapters are the most important chapters. What those 5 foundational chapters are, we are going to discuss going ahead. So please be a little patient with me. So I hope that you have understood the Ruprekha of the syllabus, the overview of the syllabus, and I hope that you have appreciated that current is more important than static. Static economy is more important than static social issues. And within static economy, there are 5 chapters which are most important. We are going to discuss this ahead. Let us move on. How to prepare for ESI? That is a very good question. How to prepare for ESI? So first, let us talk about how to prepare for current affairs. Let us understand how to prepare for current affairs. Why? Because current affairs has probably 70 to 80% weightage in the paper, right? It can go a little down, it can go a little up, but what I'm trying to communicate to you very clearly is that current affairs is having a very, very, very huge role to play in your success in this examination. So how do we tackle current affairs? How do we tackle current affairs? Let us talk about that. So when we talk about current affairs, we are basically talking about, general news which is related to the syllabus. For example, poverty is a part of your syllabus. Okay, government has probably released some numbers related to poverty. Government has constituted a committee related to poverty. Government has released some schemes so that we can tackle poverty. Or for that matter, like for example, education is related to your syllabus, right? We just saw education has been mentioned in the syllabus. So let us say that some report is suggesting what is the level of literacy in India, or how well literate Indians are, or something like that. Or for that matter, let us say environment is a part of your syllabus. So there is some news that okay, this new tiger reserve has been created in this state. Let us say that agriculture is a part of your syllabus. So our absolutely brilliant scientists of India, they have come up with a new variety of seed which is drought tolerant or something like that, or which has a shorter duration. So that is current affairs. Are you getting my point? For example, industrial policy is a part of current affairs. Let us say that the government of India comes up with a new industrial policy. Education is a part of current affairs. Let us say government of India comes up with new education policy. Health is a part of current affairs. Let us say government of India comes up with a new national health policy. So something like that. So everything that has been mentioned in your syllabus, usse related jo bhi recent developments are happening in the country, that is current affairs. And that is very, very important for you. How do you read this current affairs? Through EduTap's beautiful current affairs magazine, which is very comprehensive, right? So what should you read? The next questions that student ask is कि कितने महीनों का current affairs पढ़ना चाहिए, कितना time span का current affairs हमारे को cover करना चाहिए. The short and sweet answer is 6 to 8 months before exam का current affairs you must be prepared with. So if your exam is, let us say, going to happen in October this year, right? So 6 to 8 months prior to October ka current affairs should be very clearly in your hand. If the exam is happening in November, or if it is happening in September, or if it is happening in December, my answer remains the same. 6 to 8 months prior to the exam date ka current affairs aapko karna chahiye. That is considered to be very, very important. Now the next question that candidate asks is कि पहले क्या पढ़ना चाहिए. इफ द एग्जाम इज इन लेट अस से अक्टूबर, तो पहले सितंबर पढ़ना चाहिए या पहले अप्रैल पढ़ना चाहिए, मई पढ़ना चाहिए, क्या पढ़ना चाहिए. लेटेस्ट मंथ बिफोर एग्जाम इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो इफ योर एग्जाम इज इन अक्टूबर, सितंबर शुड बी वेरी स्ट्रांग, August should be very strong, और ऐसे करके पीछे के months should be very strong. Keep that in mind. So this is something which is very very important. The next part of current affairs is government schemes. Government of India launches and carries out a good number of schemes and programs for the betterment of the society, for the welfare of the citizenry, right? So we have to be able to appreciate these schemes of government of India, right? The question that students ask is कि कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट, कौन सी स्कीम्स को पढ़ना चाहिए, विच स्कीम्स शुड वी स्टडी. सो यू शुड श्योरली स्टडी स्कीम्स विच हैव बीन लॉन्च्ड इन द लास्ट 1 ईयर. लास्ट 1 ईयर के अंदर लॉन्च करी गई स्कीमों को आपको श्योरली रीड करना चाहिए. Apart from that, you should also know about those schemes which have been mentioned in news prominently. Like for example, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is not a scheme which has been launched in the last 1 year, but it has been prominently mentioned in the news, maybe because the government has changed the framework of that scheme, or maybe there is a lot of controversy related to that scheme, or maybe there is a lot of benefit that people are drawing from that scheme, and hence that scheme is being praised. But whatever may be the cause, if a scheme has been mentioned prominently in news, you must surely cover that scheme, which we will help you in covering through our beautiful current affairs magazine. And of course, flagship schemes of government of India. What are the flagship schemes? Flagship schemes are those schemes which are very beloved to the government. Like for example, if you talk about, which must be the favorite scheme of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, probably Make in India may be the most favorite scheme, or Beti Bachao may be the most favorite scheme. Why? Because when these schemes were launched, they were launched very prominently. Government talked about these schemes from all possible forums at all possible platforms. So these are some of the most important schemes of government of India that you should be studying. So schemes is a part of your current affairs. Then there are a good number of reports and indices which are released. These reports and indices should also be covered very very well, right? So which kind of reports should we study? Kitna purana report should we study? These are the queries that candidates have. Reports which have been released in last 1 year, which is provided to you through EduTap's beautiful magazine, those reports should surely be studied, right? Furthermore, reports, latest 6 months wala reports which are most important should be studied surely before the exam, right? And it should be relevant for your syllabus. So we provide you reports which are relevant for the syllabus. Like for example, reports related to environment, health, education, let us say reports related to empowerment of women, or let us say reports related to unemployment in India, or let us say reports related to competitiveness of the Indian economy, or let us say report related to climate change, sustainability, or let us say reports related to the agriculture sector in India, or let us say reports related to rural development in India, because there is a lot of focus upon rural development in this exam. So rural development is a very 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 key area, right? So anything which is happening with respect to rural development becomes extremely important, right? So you have to be prepared for this ESI ka current affairs. And I can tell you, my friends, that this is a really enjoyable experience. When you're reading our current affairs ka magazine, it is not at all difficult. It is not at all, very very heavy upon you. You just have to read the magazine, make your own micro notes, revise those micro notes 3, 4, 5 times, and bas ho gaya. तो इसके अंदर it is not very difficult, it is not impossible. In fact, if you look at it in a positive manner, you are getting to know so much about your country which you had probably no idea about, okay? And it is not very difficult. आपको थोड़ी थोड़ी छोटी चीजों को गैदर करना है. For example, students ask कि सर schemes के अंदर क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, right? So who has launched that scheme? When was the scheme launched? What is the budgetary allocation for that scheme? What are the objectives of that scheme? Who is the implementing agency of that scheme? Right? ऐसे करके 4, 5, 6 ऑब्जेक्टिव पॉइंट्स को आप निकाल लीजिए. Look at the features of the scheme. Look at what the scheme is trying to do, so that if they give you a paragraph and they ask you to identify the scheme, you can identify the scheme. So whenever you are studying scheme, your single-minded focus should be to capture 7, 8 objective points clearly regarding that scheme, and you should revise those 7, 8 points consistently. So let us say that you have read 100 schemes, and let us say that you have captured 700 to 800 data points. It is not difficult at all to revise those 700, 800 data points and it will probably take a week's time, and all those schemes will be completely on your fingertips, such that when the question comes in the examination, you are thoroughly prepared to answer that question. Students ask कि सर रिपोर्ट्स के अंदर क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, रिपोर्ट्स के अंदर भी आपको वही दिमाग लगाना चाहिए. Who has released that report? When was the report released? What kind of ranking has India got in that report? What are the parameters that have been mentioned in the report? What are the key things which have been mentioned in the report? तो ऐसे करके जो most important चीजें which we are going to tell you through our magazine, you should just grab those things, revise them and know those things. What are the kind of sources that you should follow? Next question that students ask is, what are the kind of sources that you should follow? So all these sources you should follow. You should regularly keep a track of PIB. You should regularly keep a track of one newspaper. You should regularly keep a track of what is happening with respect to NABARD. You should regularly keep a track of what are various ministries doing, particularly Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Rural Development. So you should keep a track of what these ministries are doing. You should keep a track of what international organizations are doing. You should keep a track of what schemes have been launched, which schemes have been modified, and so on and so forth. So you should keep a track of all these things, or you can keep a track of EduTap's monthly magazine, which will keep track of everything. The choice is yours, right? The smarter thing to do is to keep a track of EduTap's monthly magazine and be very, very thorough. Of course, you should read newspaper, because reading newspaper helps in overall development of the personality. It also helps in overall awareness building, which is very, very important and crucial for this examination. And if you are relying on EduTap's monthly magazine, that will be very, very helpful, because we keep a track. We have an entire team. We have an entire team of people to keep a track on what is happening in the world, right? So keep that in mind. So ESI current affairs is very, very important, right? One very important thing that I would like to highlight to you is that it is best that if you prepare ESI before phase 1, especially static part, which I'm going to discuss with you going ahead, you should prepare that before phase 1. For example, this ESI static that I am now going to talk about, when should you prepare it? Ideally, you should prepare it before phase 1 exam. You should be prepared with ESI static. What is the reason for this? I will explain it to you first, right? See, what happens is that now somebody was asking, when is the notification coming? As per our understanding, notification is most likely to come in April, and good number of seats are going to be up for grabs, is what we have learnt, right? So if the notification is going to come in April, and let us say the exam is going to be held probably 2 or 3 months after the notification is going to come, so still you are having maybe a window of 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 months in your hands before the examination is due to occur, right? You have a window of 2, 3, 4 months at least. Okay, now in this window of 2, 3, 4 months, you should surely take care of entire ESI syllabus. Why? Because first of all, it is a part of phase 1. Second of all, the gap between phase 1 and phase 2 is very short. Okay, so if you are planning that, between this very short gap, you will, focus upon ESI or ARD, probably you will fail, and probably you are preparing for the year after that, right? So you should not do that. So make sure that जो भी static वाली चीजें मैं आपके साथ अभी discuss करने वाला हूं, you prepare those static वाला चीजें before the phase 1 examination. The chapters in red are very, very important. Please make a note of 5 chapters. First chapter that you should make a note of is growth and development over here. This is a very important chapter, chapter number 1. Then chapter number 2, monetary policy, is important, though they have not explicitly mentioned it in the syllabus, but it is an important chapter and you should not neglect that chapter. The third most important chapter is fiscal policy, which will help you in understanding the way government formulates and presents its budget and everything associated with that. The fourth important chapter is inflation, which has been very clearly and explicitly mentioned. And the fifth chapter that is very important is balance of payment, which has also been very clearly and explicitly mentioned in the syllabus, right? These 5 foundational chapters are the most important chapters, right? If you can understand these 5 chapters, your base for understanding what is happening in the Indian economy will be developed. And once you have understood these 5 chapters, you will never forget it in your lifetime. You will probably teach your children these 5 chapters, and you will always be able to understand what is happening in the Indian economy. And we have taught you these 5 chapters in the most beautiful manner possible. These 5 chapters are very important. Once these 5 chapters are done, you should do the remaining economics related chapters going ahead, right? And let me put the entire roadmap in front of you now. So you should prioritize. So first you should try to complete these chapters, right? These are economy wala chapters and you should complete these chapters. Once these chapters are surely completed and you know that you have revised these chapters and you know that you understand everything related to these chapters, thereafter you should go towards social issues ka chapter. But mind you, my beautiful friends, you should make sure that this is happening before phase 1, because we have to perform well in ESI in phase 1, and there is no chance that you can do too much justice to these chapters after phase 1. So you have to do what you have to do before phase 1. So it makes sense to focus upon ESI static, let us say from today onwards, right, and finish it off as quickly as possible, maybe in the next 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 25 days, 30 days, whatever. But please try to focus upon ESI static, right? So as you are studying ESI, now you may think that when I have said that ESI current affairs is more important than ESI static, then why am I being so particular that you have to study static before phase 1? Why is it that I am saying that? Let me clarify this. See, the point is that in your examination, ESI current is more important than ESI static. But that does not mean that ESI static questions are not being asked. That doesn't mean that ESI static is out of syllabus. It doesn't mean that. Just because current affairs is important and static is less important doesn't mean static does not have to be. You can ignore static. That is not what we are saying. What we are saying is that static is going to have less weightage, but it is important. If you understand this static syllabus, then you will be able to appreciate current affairs more. And understanding the static syllabus is very important. Why? Because tomorrow if you go in front of the interview board, right, they are going to check the depth of your understanding probably. They are going to see your concepts, by talking to you, by understanding what you feel about various important issues related to the country. And you will be able to present your thoughts and views well only if you truly understand the static part of the syllabus. Therefore, static part of the syllabus, though it is having less weightage in terms of the questions or the number of marks being allotted in the exam to it, but this static is the root. This static is the ground upon which current affairs is standing. So this ground has to be prepared even while we are more focused and more worried about what is happening in current affairs. And please remember that the trend so far tells us that current affairs is more important than static, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow the examiner cannot ask you a good number of questions based on static also. So the best policy is to give respect to static early, to give respect to static first and foremost, and be done with static as quickly as possible, so that later on towards the exam you can just keep revising the static and make sure that your focus is too much upon current affairs, because current affairs को आपको एकदम रट रुटा के एग्जाम के अंदर जाना पड़ेगा, and for that you need time, and that time will be available to you if you have done static well, right? Now, what is it that you should do? I have told you these 5 chapters are very important. Please take a screenshot. These 5 chapters should be done on priority. How should you do these chapters, and how is EduTap going to help you in doing these chapters? For every chapter we are providing you concept note. For every chapter we are providing you summary sheets. For every chapter we are providing you videos. So you will understand each and every micro concept that has been discussed in this chapter in absolutely thorough details. First you will be watching the videos, then you will be reading the notes, and then you will be summarizing everything or reading the summary sheets. Thereafter, once the concept has been built, you will solve questions. Where are those questions available? Those questions are available in the form of worksheet as a part of our course. Those questions are available in the form of quiz as a part of our course, and those questions are available as a part of concept check questions as a part of our course. Moving ahead, you will be solving revision. You will be doing a lot of revision, and you will be doing a lot of tests, which is again a part of the course. So the idea is that we have created everything such that everybody who is absolutely new to this examination also, who is absolutely new to economics and social issues also, are able to sort of perform well in the examination. If you look at the kind of questions that have been asked in the examination, and I would like to remind you that our approach is very exam oriented. So we focus a lot upon the kind of questions that have already appeared, and we take inspiration from there, and then we craft our strategies, and then we create our material. So the questions are not very difficult. For example, once you read, you will know. It is not my objective over here to discuss with you GDP deflator, but I am just trying to tell you that this is a very simple question that you just have to give the definition of GDP deflator. That's all. It's a very simple question. फेंके हुए मार्क्स से आपको जाके उठा के लेकर आना है, quite literally. Moving ahead, you can see another simple question that when Reserve Bank of India is considered to be the lender of last resort, what is the meaning of this? What is the implication of this statement? And I'm sure that many students do know this question. If you want to answer the question, you can answer it now, but the answer is already there in front of you. So the idea is that it is very possible for you to do all these things in a beautiful manner. Of course, there are certain conceptually challenging questions also, that if the government of India decides to borrow from abroad, which of the following can be an outcome of this decision? This is a slightly challenging concept. But what is it that I'm trying to present to you? What I'm trying to present to you is that when you go through the course material, you will surely be able to appreciate the kind of questions that have been asked in the past, and you will probably be able to appreciate therefore the kind of questions that can be asked to you going ahead, and therefore you can prepare in the right direction, right? So you have to follow the right sources. What are the kind of right sources that you should follow? There are multiple books in the market. There is your Ramesh Singh, there is your Uma Kapila, there is your Puri and Mishra, there is your Debaraj Ray, there is your C. Shankar Rao, there is your Yojana magazine, there is your EPW magazine, there is the Hindu newspaper, there is the Business Standard, there is the Economic Times. Everything is important, right? And all of these important sources have been more than adequately covered as a part of our course material, right? And what you should do is that you should understand the syllabus. How should you understand the syllabus? You should, through the videos and through the concept notes, understand the syllabus. Thereafter, you should attempt questions. How should you attempt questions, right? You should attempt the concept check questions which have been made a part of the course material. Thereafter, you should revise the summary sheets. You should solve as many worksheet quizzes and tests, and thereafter you should, if required, you can always come to us for doubts through the discussion forum, through one-to-one interaction. This is the kind of approach that you should adopt, and for sure your chapters will be clear, for sure your syllabus will be cleared, and for sure your understanding will be there. This is what you need to keep in mind so far as the preparation for this examination is concerned. In this video, I have explained to you the importance of ESI for phase 1 as well as for phase 2. I have explained to you that within ESI there are two dimensions. There is a current dimension, there is a static dimension. Within the current dimension, I have explained to you the constituents of current affairs, right? I have talked to you about general current affairs and reports and schemes, and I've also explained to you how you should approach those general events and schemes and reports. Within the static component, I have explained to you very clearly that economy is more important than social issues, and within economy, 5 chapters are more important than the rest of the chapters. Thereafter, I have tried to insist upon you that once you have read through the course material, you must surely revise and attempt a lot of questions to improve your accuracy, to improve your precision, and to improve your ability to gather marks in the examination. This is the kind of approach, and we have also discussed as to how we should prioritize, right? What should we study when? So I would suggest that even though we are expecting the notification to come somewhere in April, we should not waste a day. If we are really sincerely preparing for this examination, it is best to be done with ESI static as quickly as possible, so that closer towards the examination we can focus upon other subjects, right, as well as upon current affairs. That is the kind of thing we need to keep in mind. This is the summary of the entire session that I have discussed so far. Now I would like to take some of the doubts that you all may be having, and thereafter probably I would like to close this session. Right? Chaliye, now please ask your questions. Good afternoon to everybody. Good evening to everybody. Right? Okay. So this is not the platform to discuss RBI Grade B. Right? RBI Grade B is a different matter. Let us focus upon the NABARD examination. Right? Sir, monthly magazine cover PIB Kurukshetra. Yes, it covers all important current affairs. Do not worry, Akash Soni. Monthly magazine is a very beautiful magazine. Right? Okay. Ritu Raj. Okay. What is the next question? Okay, please do not spam the chat box is what somebody is saying, so please do not spam the chat box. Okay, Sushil Kumar, April notification exam may possible, maybe possible, but it is better to start preparing today and do not wait for the notification because you are wasting days, right? It is better to start today, right? Sir, 4-5 महीना current affairs enough? I don't have time. I have already answered that question. Last 6 months का current affairs you should focus upon, and most importantly you should surely be thorough with last 4 months का current affairs at least before the examination. I have very clearly said that, so that is also done. Okay, EduTap monthly magazine cover PIB and Kurukshetra. Yes, it does cover PIB and Kurukshetra, right? मूविंग अहेड, लेट अस फोकस अपॉन समथिंग एल्स. नाबार्ड ग्रेड बी कब तक आ सकता है? नाबार्ड ग्रेड ए के बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर. एआरडी का स्ट्रेटजी जो है वीना मैम आपको बताएंगे. वीना मैम ने ऑलरेडी बता दिया रहेगा या वीना मैम बहुत ही जल्द आपको बताने वाले हैं. सो इवन द एआरडी का स्ट्रेटजी विल बी डिस्कस विथ यू. I need guidance from EduTap regarding NABARD Grade A, RBI Grade B, how to contact you. Bachchu, Anvesh as well as all others who are watching this video, if you want to get in touch with us, just write a mail on hello@edutap.co.in and उस mail के अंदर write politely that you want to speak with, let us say Deepak sir or Anchit sir or Veena ma'am or me or VD sir or Ritika ma'am or Gurkirat or anybody. Just write that I want to have a strategy session with faculty so and so, please connect me to this faculty, and you will be connected to that faculty. Please also mention your phone number in that mail so that we can call you back, right? And our number is 8146207241. You can call on this number as well, right? But it's best if you want to speak with any faculty whatsoever, you can just drop in a mail on hello@edutap.co.in, right? Sagar, you're facing issues in current affairs. Do not worry. We are providing a good number of lecture videos as a part of current affairs. We are providing the magazine as a part of current affairs. You can speak with our current affairs team and take guidance from them, and your problems in current affairs will be taken care of, right? Anshu, you're asking, sir, in NABARD, how many months to be done for current affairs? I've answered that question. आपको 6 to 7 months, 6 to 8 months का current affairs करना चाहिए. Right? If somebody is not able to afford for the paid course, how can we prepare? I mean, what can be the source? If you cannot afford the paid course, what you should do is that be very thorough with the newspaper, be very thorough with the PIB, and try to do these things from the basic sources available on the internet as much as you can. That is something that you can do, right? How to read PIB? Aniket is asking. You should read PIB by focusing upon various ministries. For example, you can focus upon the important ministries. Like for example, 6-7 ministries are very important. Social justice is important, health education is important, rural development is important, agriculture is important. ऐसे करके आप 7 to 8 ministries का लिस्ट बना दीजिए और उन ministries की जो भी important updates आने लग रही है, उन ministries की important updates को miss मत करिए. This exam has a special focus upon rural development. So anything and everything that is happening with respect to rural development, directly or indirectly, आपको वो चीज पता रहनी चाहिए. That is something that you need to keep in mind, right? Weightage for CA and static in phase 1, ऐसा कोई clear cut, they have not made a demarcation that इतने questions CA में से आएंगे ही आएंगे, इतने questions static में से आएंगे ही आएंगे. But what has been observed is that current affairs is having a greater weightage than static, is something that I have clearly emphasized. Right? So I think that this is sufficient over here. If there are any more questions that you all are having, right, you all can always mail us on hello@edutap.co.in. If you want to speak with us, you can always get in touch with us. With this, we'll bring this video to an end. Thank you very much, guys. Prepare very strong, prepare very hard. All the very best, and Jai Hind.